Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our brand new podcast called Goings on the Record. This is episode 1.
Episode 1.
Thank you so much for tuning in. On this podcast, we are going to be talking all things business. How we got our start together as business owners, things that we do, sales, operations, marketing, all the things that we constantly get DMs about. We want to share with everyone so that potentially this is something that you may find helpful on your journey.
All right, let's get to the episode.
Hey everybody, my name is Renee Goings, and welcome to our Goings on the Record podcast. We're so excited to start. So this is going to be episode 1. We want to talk, like Ramon said, about our background. Professionally, I got my start career-wise in insurance. So I have my degree in math. And at first I wanted to be an actuary because I just heard about how much bank they made.
They make a lot of money, yeah.
Until I realized you have to take like 20-some tests. They're very rigorous. They're very hard. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. So I actually went into insurance on like the personal line side for a couple years and did that, was grinding with 2 guys that were CFPs. And then I decided I really wanted to kind of go on the group side. I felt like the grind was not as difficult. And so I transitioned over to the broker side. And prior to leaving my corporate job there, I worked for a national broker, worked my way up, and eventually was managing a team, managing a block of business. And basically I just...
And she left out that she's vice president, so don't sleep on it. You got to tell them the real deal.
I'm sorry. I do like to skate over that. I don't like to toot my own horn. But yeah, when I initially came in, I really didn't know anything about the broker side. And so I was lucky in the fact that I had a boss and a manager that was really invested in me. They were really good. They taught me everything that they knew. And over 7-8 years, I was able to work my way up from a senior analyst position to VP, where I was managing probably about $1 million block of business. I probably had my book was probably about 24, 26 clients, ranging anywhere from 2 employees all the way up to, I think, my largest client had a couple thousand. And so basically, I was the person who worked with the CEO, the VP of HR, maybe the CFO, and I essentially either underwrote or negotiated the health and welfare benefits for employees. And so the shop that I worked at was really soup to nuts. So I really got to learn a lot. And that's key because I was able to transition a lot of that into now what we're doing, a lot of the things that I learned. So, my boss, he was like a soup to nuts. He wanted us to know everything. You had some offices that like to shop stuff out. Like they would shop out the underwriting. They would shop out the benefit guides. They would shop out this, shop out that. Well, we had to do everything in-house. So not only did I learn all of that, but I also learned a lot about the business side because essentially I was working with CEOs of companies in different industries and CFOs. And so I'm learning how they're managing their finances because a lot of folks don't realize, the company that you work for, like a top line expense, one of the top lines are the benefits. It's very expensive. And so I got to learn a lot working with CEOs, CFOs, in terms of how they were managing finances, operations, and books, et cetera, because one of the things that I was helping them with was one of their top line expenses.
Yeah.
So fast forward, at the end of that part of my career, I was managing a block of business. I was managing a team, and y'all, burnout is just real.
All the way. Yeah, she won't tell you. She should have left 2 years before that, but
Listen, I have to do things in my time. I was very. I was very invested in my clients. I had wonderful relationships with my clients, some that I actually call friends now. And like I said, my boss was like super invested in me, and I didn't want to disappoint him. But ultimately, I thought, COVID happened, and I was like, well, maybe I'm feeling burned out because of COVID. I can't just leave now. But after a while, I started to realize that I was ready for something different. And so, Ramon was like, come on, let's do our own thing.
Yeah.
And so finally I was like, you know what, I've had enough. I'm ready for something different. And so it was super refreshing to be able to kind of get out of that grind and get into another grind. But also transfer all of my expertise from really like insurance and business operations to now our business. So I'm actually coming up on my year anniversary.
Indeed. Yep. February 1st.
Yep. So, that's my background.
No, that's dope. So this thing for us starting, our company's called Done Dissertation. We help doc students across the world at this point. We got folks from everywhere that work with us to get their dissertations done. And this was something that I started when I was a doctoral student. And people kept asking me, hey, I need help with my writing. And I'm like, cool, I'll do it. And at first I was doing it for free. And I was trying to do my own classwork, and that was, reviewing other people's papers, not charging. And then at some point I was like, man, I got to start charging because, I can't keep doing all this for free.
Well, I'll never forget. I actually remember the moment. We were sitting at the dining room table, and I think you were on your phone or something, and you were like, I think I'm on to something. I'm like, on to what?
I don't remember.
And so many people had been reaching out to him, and he was just like, out of the kindness of your heart, helping folks.
Yeah.
You want to see people win.
Yeah.
But you were like, I think I'm onto something. I think this could be a business idea. And I'm like, really? And I mean, I still remember that moment where it was like, oh, wow, this could really be something.
Yeah. I mean, part of this too is like you got to have a vision for it. And I didn't at first. It was just like, I'm just helping people. I'm going to make some quick cash on the side. At that point, I was I was a music teacher, I think, when I first was starting this out. And so didn't necessarily need the money. It was helpful though. Definitely need the extra cash, but it wasn't like I went into it for that purpose. I was just trying to help some classmates get through our program because folks are struggling. And so, it started from there. And then, I don't know what it is. I made a turn. And then I initially said, all right, if I'm tired of editing, like I want to do a little bit more because people could ask me to coach. And then literally what I started to do is I took on some people as clients, and I was traveling all over the state of Maryland doing like individual coaching sessions with these folks. I'd meet at like wherever they were at the local, I don't know, I met people at Panera, Starbucks, at, the bookstore, wherever it was, all over the place, driving 30, 40 miles, kind of like out of the way to make, I think at that point, like $300 a month. Like it was nothing, but it felt like a lot because when you first start out, you're like, shoot, any money better than what I'm making at work is cool. But I just knew something was there. We kept helping people, and people were finishing. Like, I'm like, dang, the stuff that I helped them with, they allowed them to get their doctorates. And I'm like, there might be something to this, but I didn't have a structure. And I remember Renee's cousin, Robin, shout out to Dr. Robin Jackson. She had a course, a program, like teaching people who are in education how to become entrepreneurs and like how to build a business. And so that was the first time I invested in the company to figure out how to put the structure together. So up until that point, I didn't have a name for it. It was just I'm helping people. Like, go see Ramon. That was the name of it. That was the name of it. And then now when I started working with Robin, she was like, oh, we got to come up with a name and kind of figure it out. And that's where Done Dissertation. I was like, oh, that's a cool name. I think it gets at what we're trying to do with people, and it's to the point. And so that's when Done Dissertation, kind of like the company, was created. That was 2018, because that was right before Leah was born. And so, before that, for about 4 or 5 years, I had been helping people all along, no name, just like getting off referrals. I wasn't doing anything on the internet, advertising, this whole social media thing, like all this stuff that we're doing right now. I could never imagine, because I don't like to be on the camera, to be honest with y'all, and I'm on it all the time for work.
He's extremely introverted. I'm definitely the extrovert. He's definitely introverted.
I don't like none of this.
So that is not in his natural nature or personality to be on camera
No.
and be doing stuff like this.
But what you find out when you're running a business, if it's working and you make money, you keep going with it.
Yep,
So,
yep.
you know, I had to figure out a way to get comfortable with being on camera and talking. Otherwise, if you don't talk, nobody's going to be able to give you any money. And that's like the biggest thing I think I've learned so far. But besides Done Dissertation, I'm a college professor. Went through that whole tenure and promotion process last year, got tenure, doing all those things. So I've been successful on the, you know, academic side, but then the business side has been very successful for us. But interestingly, when our daughter was born in 2018, Done Dissertation, the name came about and had more of a structure to it and kind of like a system. Renee kept telling me, you kept saying like, when are you going to build this thing up so like I can come on? And I'm like, man, it ain't going to be nothing. Like,
Which is so out of character for you
Yeah.
because he's definitely the big thinker in the relationship. Very entrepreneurial
Yeah.
spirit, always has. You've always had a million jobs since you were young. And even through college, I mean, he had like 3, 4, 5 jobs. I mean, he
Sure
did
did.
everything. So you're always entrepreneurial in that regard. And you've always had a vision for yourself and a vision for our family. So when I kind of was like, thinking about my 5, 10, 15-year
Yeah.
plan, you know, I definitely had a really great career at what I was doing. But I was just like, in the event that I ever wanted to do something different, why wouldn't I be able to take that expertise and come and do it for us? And so I was like, yeah, when are we going to, you know, build it so that
see it.
at some point, you know, I would maybe leave my job, if that's something I wanted to do, and come and work full time for our company. And he was like, I don't really think this is going to be that big. I mean, this is a good side hustle, but yeah, I don't really see this growing to be anything. And I'm like, you're just usually so optimistic. So I was like, oh, wow. I was very, very surprised.
Sometimes when you're doing these things and being in business, you don't see it. And if you can't see it, it doesn't make any sense. I just didn't see it. And then once I started getting clients and it just started, the momentum started to build. You know, 2018 started and then 2019 came around. You started seeing the bank account get a little bigger in terms of the money generating through helping people. And then 2020 had, you know, right at COVID, like for most businesses, and I remember I was going to enroll in this other coaching program to help me kind of build out Done Dissertation some more. And I said no. And it was right before, like right at the same time COVID, you know, kind of on the onset of COVID. And I remember we talking to the tax person. They were like, I was like, yeah, basically for Uncle Sam, like my taxes are going to be low this year because we're not going to make a lot of money in the business. And like literally at that point, like business skyrocketed in 2020. A lot of folks were trying to go back to school, get their degrees, and that was unexpected. And then from there, now I started to see, okay, there's something more that's going on to this thing, and I got to really take advantage of it.
It was definitely like exponential growth. And I think what that did was it kind of forced us to kind of take a look at the model that we had been using in terms of now, you know, meeting with someone face to face, that's no longer an option. So everybody's pivoting to virtual, this and that.
And I was against virtual.
Yeah.
I remember I had somebody who lived about an hour and a half away, and they were like, well, can you meet with me over Zoom? And I was like, nah, that's not going to work. Like, I just don't see it. Like, we need to be in person. I need to be with you. I had to get over that one. I just didn't think the online learning for a dissertation would work.
You were definitely like dead set on individual, one-on-one, face-to-face. I remember he'd be so disappointed too sometimes where, you know, folks, life happens, things come up. He'd be halfway to an appointment with a client and the client's like, oh, I'm not going to make it. And he's like 30 minutes away.
It's the
and
worst.
It's like, man, I traveled all this way. I wasted time. I could have been doing something. And so I think that with COVID, it really did kind of force you from a coaching perspective, like, you know, what are some other ways that are just as efficient?
Yeah.
So that was definitely a turning point.
Yeah, and so at that point, we started, you know, continuing to work in 2020, and then 21 happens, and then I was watching a podcast. I was watching a Social Proof podcast, and the guest on the show, it's a podcast for entrepreneurs, and the guest on the show is this woman who was talking about like writing a book. But before that, I had thought about, I need to write a book because people keep asking me the same questions over and over again, like how do I do stuff with my dissertation? I'm like, I need a book. But I didn't know anything about how to write a book for this purpose. I know how to do that for work, but this was a whole different ball game. And happened to see that episode. Jasmine Womack was in that episode, and then I ended up working with her to write 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, and then that really pulled things off and really helped us like build. And at that point, we had enough revenue where we started had to think about like, at what point can Renee come on, because she's helping, but she's working. So it's hard to balance all that. And I know for me, it was like, shoot, I'm about to burn out too. I had taken on so many one-on-one clients. I was toast. So I was like, we need help, or we got to hire, we got to do something.
And when I tell you, my corporate job was a rigorous
a beast.
corporate job. I mean, with the title of VP came a lot of responsibilities. My job was to not only manage business, but keep business on the books. And what does that mean? That means managing client expectations day in and day out. When they need things, I'm there. And eventually, just me personally as a mom, a wife, you know, it was just like I felt like I was being pulled in so many different directions. And it was like it's a 9 to 5, but it really wasn't a 9 to 5. And so it really started to become taxing, but it was my comfort zone. I was comfortable there. You know, I made a very good salary. My boss let me do what I wanted to do, very flexible, not a long commute. And so I'm like, why would I leave this? I kind of actually flip-flopped, because at first I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do to grow this so eventually that I could come on? And then I'm like, well, I've worked so hard in this career to get to where I am. You know, I don't know if I want to leave, but I was burned out and I was lying to myself. And eventually I had a moment where I was just like, I can't be the mom, the wife, the person that I want to be if I continue in with this career, because it was just too much. It was too much. And so I think the light switch flipped on for me. But at the same time, I was like, you know, I've gotten to where I am in my career. I don't want to feel like I'm sacrificing coming to work for us. I still need to feel like I'm continually growing. Yeah. And so we had a lot of long, hard conversations. You know, we both have a similar money mindset, but I'm super conservative with money.
Really
too
conservative.
The bank needed to look right in order for me to definitely give up the paycheck that I was making to come to work for us full time. But it was just like everything, all the pieces just started to come together. And, you know, with the help of our financial advisor, our tax planners, sitting down, I mean, having multiple meetings, literally planning out a year. We
planned for like a year.
Yeah. It wasn't something that we just did overnight. Okay, I'm going to fly off That's just not us. It works for some people, but that's just not us. We planned this for a long time, and eventually, because you were tired too.
I mean, with tired, burnt
everything
out.
You were doing, you had a lot on your plate. I had a lot on my plate, but there's only so much I could do on the weekends. Yeah. I mean, I was coming home from work, dinner, Leah bath, time with her, get her down, and then I'm working till 11, 12 o'clock, go to bed, wake up, do it all over again. And it was just getting to be too much.
It was wild. Yeah, that was a rough go. We're trying to figure out how to do this the right way, because you know, you wanted to succeed in it. But I always said, like I said, Renee is more conservative than I am. I just said, well, shit, if the thing doesn't work out, just go back and get a job. Like, you already have the skill set, just go back and get another job. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, if this doesn't work out. But in my mind, I'm like, this is gonna work out. Like, we'll figure out. I'm a hustler, so I'm gonna figure out a way to make it all work, you know, regardless of what it is. And Renee is a hustler too. She just don't. At first, I had to bring that hustle side out of her, because that's not who she says she is, but she is that person. So that was a big piece for us as we made the transition, and you know, that's where it kind of gets us to where we are today, and like why we wanted to do this, to help show people, you know, how we did it. And so we want to talk throughout some of these episodes about, you know, the business side. So, you know, around sales, marketing, all the things that we're learning, because literally a lot of these things that we have learned to build Done Dissertation is something that we had to pick up pieces here. We've invested in ourselves, going to different coaching programs and doing different things to build it. But then because of our unique kind of niche and industry, we've had to like tailor a lot of what we've learned in those spaces to our particular client, which is very different, I think, in a lot of the spaces where people are marketing to, that in terms of help coaches and service providers. So particularly around academics and like how to working with college universities, those type of things where we work with is like a unique, I think, niche. And we want to help show people how we're doing it and how this thing is going to grow. So hopefully you can watch it with us.
I think it would be helpful to kind of talk about too a little bit what we do on a day to like what's your role, what's my role. I know there's a lot of crossover. We wear all the hats as business owners, but we do have other folks that are a part of our team that help us, provide services to our clients. So what kind of things that you do?
Yeah, on the day-to-day, I'm like the face, right? So a lot of times you'll see just my face on all the social media stuff, all the, videos. I do a weekly live video series about some aspect of the dissertation. So I do that. We plan for that. All the things like around marketing. I do a lot. I don't do the marketing work, but I'm usually the face of the marketing piece of the business. Along with that is just working directly with clients, along with sales, particularly with our university clients. Renee does more so now with our individual clients who come through our programs. But shoot, when you're running a company, we do a little bit of everything. Sometimes I'm the billing manager. Sometimes I gotta send texts like, "Hey, you forgot the payment." Like I remember having to do that sometimes with folks. So from billing to sending out invoices, it just depends. Like whatever needs to get done gets done. But yeah, I definitely more so on like the vision, not the vision, but the face of the business. Just trying to generate leads and really generate sales. That's where I'm really trying to do. How about you? What do you see, Kyler?
So you're the outward face. I'm definitely the face behind the scene. And
we're trying to do this to get her face out because she's so dope. So that's why we're doing this too.
So with years of working with clients and whatnot and, growing my expertise, especially around numbers, that's my, one of the things I love and I'm pretty good at. So I do a lot of our sales for our Velocity group coaching program. That's our individual or our group coaching program. So I'm typically taking those sales calls and consultations. I'm also typically helping with the client experience as they need things throughout their engagement with us. I'm serving as a touch point there, managing our CRM system for our clients, making sure that things are automating properly. So, we're giving the best experience for our clients. I also work with our contractors, whether it be, payment, collecting documentation that we need for our files, working with our bookkeeper, our financial advisor. I feel like it's a collaborative effort, but I typically put like our budget and our projections and our numbers together and then have a meeting with Ramon and we kind of talk about what our goals are, just kind of getting everything out on paper because I'm literally like a whiz with Excel. I had to be Excel. That way when I was underwriting projections for my clients. So it's nothing for me to put some numbers and some, formulas in an Excel sheet and get something going. I also process all of our book orders. Yep. But yeah.
There's so much. I even forgot that I work with the clients. I mean, that's the most important. So, we have our Velocity Group coaching program. So we have weekly meetings with our clients as a group. So I, are on those calls with our other coach, Dr. Patricia Varela. So we're usually doing that. Also reviewing chapters for our clients. So I'm pretty hands-on in terms of client experience as well. Not just sales and market, but definitely behind the scenes in terms of ensuring clients get through. That looks like helping folks, sometimes even connecting with other people to make sure they got the things that they need to succeed. So it's definitely a hands-on. We're both hands-on with this. When you have a small business and it's, a couple of you, you're definitely hands-on with everything in the business.
Definitely. And I mean, it's not just the two of us. So we do have some folks that are on our team. Like he had mentioned, Dr. Patricia Varela. She's also a coach and an alum of the Velocity Group coaching program. She is phenomenal, dynamic. And so she helps, coach our clients, provide feedback on their work. And so we couldn't do it without her. We also couldn't do it without our director of marketing, Carrie Henderson.
Carrie. Y'all meet her on one of the episodes. We'll have her come and chat.
Definitely. Yeah. Any post you've seen, any reel, anything that is forward facing in terms of social media, not only was she had a hand in putting it together, but she had a hand in putting together the strategy
for sure
behind it. She's the mastermind behind all that you see outward on social media. And we definitely couldn't do this without her.
I do the work. They just tell me what to do. So that's how this goes. They say, oh, you need to record these 8 videos. cool, I'll record the 8 videos. Oh, you write the captions, I'll do that. And then she strategizes and puts it out. So a lot of times when I see this stuff come out, I'm like, shoot, I forgot I did that, because that was like, months ago. But yeah, Carrie is definitely a big piece in this puzzle for us at Done Dissertation.
And then too, we do have workshops, ad hoc throughout the year.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're definitely big on part of the delivering of more so delivering of services and being the face of the business, because this company is literally his brainchild. That's what I like to call it.
Yeah.
Drawing on your experience going through the process and being able to help folks. And I'm definitely more behind the scenes. But yeah,
eventually what we want to do, we just, again, want to keep showing you all the, how this business thing works. And then we're definitely looking to, help other business owners who are looking to grow their business, particularly if you have something in the service-based industry. Even better if you're a faculty member or someone in that lane, because that's who we know that lane and how you have to balance. So while you all might see me online, I'm not doing all those things. I'm still a faculty member, still doing all those type of, the work required of a faculty member, and doing that really well. So we definitely have been able to build a company that builds around kind of that life of the person who's in higher ed too. So yeah, we're just looking forward to helping y'all. And that's kind of how this thing all started. So definitely we will have future episodes where we'll talk more about just technical aspects of selling, about business owning, about even family and business, all those things. So if you all have questions, feel free to, shoot us a comment or shoot us a DM wherever you can find us online, and we'd love to stay connected.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, y'all. Goings on the record.
Goings on the record.
Episode 1, we out.